how do's. This is the first episode of the Backlogs podcast, a personal diary of mine. I'm sure you're all guilty of this. Surely I'm not the only one who keeps just buying games before they've even finished what they've started. And before you know it, you've got a massive list of games or films that you're just not getting to. Guilty as charged. So I've decided that I need to force myself to stop buying things just for the sake of buying them, getting caught up in the hype. I have to clear the backlogs for my own peace of mind. So today's episode, we will be starting with The Blair Witch by Blooper. Now, I will say, some of the gameplay in the woods that you start out with, you're looking for a missing child with your faithful companion, Bullet the dog. I didn't mind. It's a poor man's Alan Wake. There's nothing really that happens, but that's the setting that you're given. You're basically walking around with a camcorder, like in the film. I like using a video camera, especially when you start finding tapes that do have an impact on the environment, but really only when it comes to closed doors, certain items appearing, clearing your path. But it was a bit of a wasted opportunity. They could have done more in the woods, because nothing really happens. There is no combat as such. But the main focus they put on is when you enter the house. And fuck me, have I never wanted something to end so badly. It just consists of going round and round and round and round in circles for at least an hour, maybe an hour and a half. Every now and then you will hear voices putting you down, such as murderer, failure, you are nothing. You'll see ghosts, monsters, figments of your imagination that you can't look at. That's the thing, you can't look at them. You're just staring at the floor, and you'll be doing this throughout the whole entire house, following a path that you can only see with the camcorder. But after 15-20 minutes of doing this, you'll seriously have had enough. I was so bored of going around the house about 10 to 15 times, I was just praying for it to end. You play as a guy called Ellis. He's a ex-soldier, I believe, suffering with PTSD. Occasionally he would talk to his ex-wife. They're clearly going through a separation or a divorce. I'm not sure why he's decided to go into the woods looking for this missing child. It could, maybe he was from this town, or he just needs a distraction. But honestly, nothing really happens. It's just consists of going around the woods, hearing a few sounds. Occasionally you'll see these blob, monster, oily things. You shine a light on them and they disappear. You do not have any other weapons. You will not find knives, guns, anything to defend yourself with. It is just poor. I did get the bad ending, or the so-called bad ending, and you can see that Blooper probably wanted you to play this at least 2 to 3 times. There's some areas that I didn't go in. I didn't go into the bunker. You will find the symbols that the witch leaves hanging from trees. I believe there's a way that you can just avoid them, because every time you find one, you will break it, and you'll find a picture or a videotape or some sort of clue about what's going on. But yeah, I honestly could not play this game again. I have no interest in going in the bunker or getting the good ending. Unfortunately, the game just isn't good. There is no combat. The puzzles are complete dog shit. It's not fun. The game is just not fun. And there's a certain scene with Bullet, your companion dog, where they try to bring some emotion into the game. It doesn't work, really. And as an owner of 2 French bulldogs, I can kind of see what they were trying to do, but it misses the mark big time. As I said, there is a mental health side to the game, with Ellis having PTSD. I thought was okay, but a bit exploitative. As someone who struggles with mental health issues, I could slightly connect with Ellis with that feeling of helplessness, not knowing where you are, or things may have changed, you didn't notice the change. Also the voices that put Ellis down, such as "you're nothing," "you're a failure." I have had and still do struggle with them voices. The attachment side of it, you can definitely tell that Ellis is struggling with attachment issues, with his pal Bullet, with his wife. You can definitely see that he struggles with an attachment issue, which is not my best trait, but I do struggle with attachment issues. I do not do well on my own. And sometimes I do project that onto my family, so I can sympathise with Ellis there, which is partly why I'm trying to do podcasts. It's not going very well. No listeners yet. I may win an award for the worst podcast ever created, but you know, it is what it is. As I said though, I couldn't play this game again. I really didn't enjoy it. There's just no substance there. It's loosely connected to the films. And to be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of the films. I didn't think they were very good. I would say the cleverest thing they do is with the camcorder. You do feel like you're in a found footage movie. But it's a gimmick that gets old very, very quickly. So I would only give the game a 2 out of 5. And that would be generous. So yeah, I would say honestly avoid the game at all costs. I believe I got it on a PlayStation sale. I think I got the deluxe edition for about £4.99. And I want my money back, because it is dog shit. But on to Blooper. I have started playing Silent Hill 2 Remake that they developed for Konami, and that game is miles better. I'm really enjoying it. I would say I'm probably halfway through. I've just finished the part where you have your first fight encounter with Pyramid Head, and I've just met Maria. So much better. So much atmosphere, so much dread. The feeling of dread and loneliness and helplessness is fantastic. Silent Hill 2 just the way it looks, it reminds me of when you go into that dark world. It's almost like a Hellraiser. It's all barbed wire and rusty metals and filth. It's absolutely fantastic. So Blooper can do great work, and unfortunately this game wasn't one of them. I would say check out the trailer for Blooper's next game, Kronos the New Dawn. Stupid title. Looks interesting. It could be good. It might not. I did just see last night of recording that a new trailer has dropped for Silent Hill F, and thank God, because that game looks absolutely brilliant. That is my type of game. I am absolutely obsessed with Japan, Japanese culture, Japanese women. Why not? And that game looks absolutely brilliant. Straight on the wish list. Not the backlogs yet. Hopefully that'll be cleared by the time that game comes out. I don't believe there's a release date yet, but looking at the gameplay trailer from last night, they seem to be pretty far ahead. So hopefully this year, early next year. So definitely play Silent Hill 2 from Blooper. You know what, and thinking of that, that's what kind of concerns me with a team like Blooper. Can they only do good work when they have basically everything in place for them? Silent Hill 2 was obviously not originally done by them. They were just asked to remake it, remaster it, whatever you want to say. And everything was there for them. They didn't really have to do anything of their own. The story's there, the atmosphere's there, the town's there, the characters are there. Yeah, and it worries me. Can they only do good stuff when it's there for them? But as I say, check out Kronos the New Dawn trailer. See if that interests you. But yeah, avoid the Blair Witch unless you're absolutely obsessed with the Blair Witch, which I don't really think anyone is anymore. Apart from that, I would definitely avoid it. Now, onto a few films that I've seen this week, as I'm sure you're all bored of me talking shit and making no sense. But hey, I'm an amateur. Well, on whatever below an amateur is, I'm just talking really. So I watched a Child's Play remake not so long ago. First time since the cinema. And you know what, I really liked it. Chucky was still creepy. I thought the cast was great. The kills were great. I also like the fact that Chucky is not a possessed doll anymore. It's an AI gone wrong, which in this day and age is appropriate, I would say, in the world of AI. There were a few bits that actually really creeped me out, especially with all the AI in the world now, which is why I will not have a mobile phone powered by AI. It freaks me out. Skynet's coming. James Cameron was right. Before you know it, we'll be fighting the machines. There's a part where Chucky had killed Andy's mum's boyfriend, and because he's misinterpreted what Andy really meant, he sort of meant, you know, as we all do as kids when your mum gets a new boyfriend and they're a bit of a dick, you sort of wish they weren't around, and Chucky takes that the wrong way and goes and kills this guy. And Chucky's just staring at Andy. He's in the corner of the room and just staring at him. Creepy. Really creepy. But, you know, overall it's not bad. It's not as iconic as the original. But I think if a lot of people went back and watched some of these original films, unless you grew up with them, I think people today would struggle with them. I always use Halloween as an example, where I think if you were to show someone today of the age of 18, 19, 15, something like that, or my kids' age, if I was to show them the original Halloween, I think they would be quite bored. It's not a fast-paced film, as most of you probably have seen. It's not a gore fest. And I think some people would struggle with the original now if it's their first viewing, and maybe would prefer Rob Zombie's Halloween. And I kind of feel that with Child's Play. I feel that if someone was to watch the original now, there's still some creepy moments in there. The way Chucky talks is fantastic in the first Child's Play. But would this film resonate more with kids of today? You know, that AI, that mobile phone connectivity. I can see that connecting more for the youth of today, should we say. So, definitely give that a watch. I'll give that a 3 out of 5. And I also watched Fear Street 1994 last night. And do you know what? It was fucking brilliant. For some reason I've been putting off watching it. I didn't really think it would be... I thought maybe it was going to be a bit more childish than what it was when I see that it was written by R.L. Stine, the guy who had done the Goosebumps books. I thought it was going to be a bit more childish, like a long episode of Goosebumps. But last night I thought, I'll just give it a whirl, give it a chance. I couldn't find anything else to watch really. Yeah, brilliant. Characters, brilliant. Anything to do with a witch on there, unless it's the Blair Witch, the bitch. I do like films involving witches and witchcraft. Nothing comes close to Lords of Salem to me, or the Witch. They're the two best witch films I can think of right now. But Fear Street 1994, yeah, definitely give it a go. The characters are brilliant. It reminds me a bit of It, with the kids and them banding together. Some gruesome death scenes. One girl in particular gets killed with a bread cutter, which broke me out a bit because I thought she was probably one of the best characters in the film. Yeah, give it a go. I'm going to watch part 2 tonight, so I may jump in later at some point and give my review of that. So what we're going to do for the backlogs next. So I have a few games on the list. They will be longer episodes than this. This is just me jumping in. I actually feel a bit more comfortable than another podcast that I'm trying to do, which is dedicated to zombie films, zombie games, called The Undead Heads, which has been on YouTube for 22 hours and it had a maximum of 0 views. I also put it up on Spotify, where it has got 0 views. So far so good. So on the next episode of the Backlogs, what should we do? Well, I've got a few games on the list. This is not a complete list. This is just some that I've had for quite a while, that I've bought for quite a while ago. All my games will be played on PS5, a few possibly on the Nintendo Switch. But at the Backlogs currently, we have Judgment and Lost Judgment, which are spin-offs of the Yakuza franchise. The Metro games, I've never played the Metro games, but yeah, I bought them and haven't played them. I did read the book, which is why I probably bought the games. Ni no Kuni, The Wrath of the White Witch. It was a game that I was always interested in playing. I like that anime style. I'm not a big anime guy. I like Death Note, Tokyo Ghoul, Vampire Hunter D, but I definitely like the style. So and I like a good JRPG, so I'll definitely jump into that at some point. We have Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which again I got on a sale, but never got around to. Silent Hill: The Short Message is also on the backlogs. RoboCop Rogue City, which is one that annoys me because I'm a huge RoboCop fan. My wife got me that for Christmas of 2 years ago now, and I still haven't played that. The Dead Space remake, I've heard really, really good things about. Again, not played it. This is what I'm on about with the backlogs. It just keeps growing and growing and growing. Shadow of the Colossus, everyone says a classic. I've never played it. Until Dawn, which is one that really interests me, as I'm a big fan of the slasher genre. So yeah, that one definitely is going to be up there soon. Control, which is a game by Epic Games, who have done Alan Wake and Alan Wake 2. The Evil Within 1 and 2. The Last Guardian, which was a game that I was so hyped about. It took so long to come out. But this is what I'm saying with the backlogs. Sometimes you get caught up in the hype. You want something so bad, and then you finally get it. And I'm kind of always worried that have I overhyped myself? And then sometimes I get put off by playing them because I've overhyped it so much that I'm worried that I'm going to be disappointed. So which is why I will not watch anything else to do with Silent Hill F. I say I've added it to my wish list. The only thing I will check out is when they have a release date, but I don't want to overhype myself on that because to me it looks really, really impressive. God of War. I've never played the God of War games. Death Stranding, Horizon Zero Dawn, Final Fantasy 16, Mass Effect Andromeda, Prey, and you know, I'm going to admit it, guys, I'm guilty. I did purchase one more last night, but I think I'll jump into that straight away. That was Hellblade something or other's Revenge, but I like games that have got a strong female lead, and it was £7. So, and from what I've read about it, it was it's like a 7 to 8 hour game, which is cool for me. Yeah, and there are a few more. They're just the ones that I can sort of think of straight away. So if anyone actually listened, which I doubt, thank you. If not, fuck off. I really wanted to do this for a while. This is more self-help for me. As I say, I'm on my own a lot due to mental health and some physical disabilities. So this is going to be like a diary of sorts. It's something that this is not something that look, I'm not good enough to think that I'll make money or sponsors or any of that bollocks doing a podcast. It's just something I wanted to prove to myself that I can do something when I put my mind to it, good or bad. And this is almost becoming a diary for me. I'll just imagine that there's people out there that I'm talking to, and it gives me some accountability to clear some of the games from the backlogs. I don't even want to talk about the films on the backlog. Jesus Christ. So yeah, that was the first episode done. I actually done a podcast yesterday, as I said, the Undead Heads, the zombie podcast, and it took me 6, 7, 8 attempts to even get through it. I actually feel more comfortable today, which is odd. Not better, because it's not better. This is a terrible podcast, and I'm a big podcast listener. If I stumbled upon this and thought I'd give it a go, I'd think to myself, what is this dickhead talking about? Not making any sense. but I will get better at it. That I can promise you. I don't have an email for this podcast, so I will give out the email for the other one. Any questions, please email me at theundeadheads@outlook.com. That is all lowercase. Again, not so much for this one. I'm quite happy to do this one on my own, but for the Undead Head Zombie podcast, a co-host would be great. Male, female, horror lover, game lover, as long as you're over the age of 18, ideally over the age of 25. I'm an old man. I don't really want to be talking to young people. Please send an email for any advice, help, co-host, anything. Send an email to the undeadheads@outlook.com. That's all lowercase. Thank you for listening. The next game we will probably cover will be... let me see, what do I fancy doing? Because the problem is I only really play... it's mostly horror games. So I'm trying to clear the backlogs, but I'm trying to avoid horror games. I don't want to double dip. I don't know, possibly the Hellblade one that I got yesterday may be one of the Judgment games. I don't know, but it won't be Silent Hill 2 because I'm halfway through that. And I'll probably chuck in a short review of that game. I just want to sit and enjoy, because there are going to be some games that are just for me, just to enjoy myself, and not worry about having to take notes or throwing criticisms, because I just think, who am I to criticise someone who's put effort into their games? I couldn't make a game at all. Barely make a podcast, barely talk English. So, anyway, that's the first episode done. I've been your host, Dead Eddie 22. You can follow me on Letterboxd. I don't do the social media stuff, which is probably why no one's listening. No promotion whatsoever. Again, the undeadheads@outlook.com. That was the Blair Witch. Avoid it at all costs. Do not go into them woods. I honestly would only play this game if you stumbled across it for about £1. But avoid it at all costs. Check out the Chucky remake if you haven't. It's a few years old now. It's definitely worth a watch. If you're like me and you've been put off by watching Fear Street, definitely give it a watch. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. How do's and goodbye.